Hello, good evening, everyone. How are you doing? Yeah, how's your Sunday or end of Sunday? Yes, we are live now, and I'm just going to just double check if everything is going all right, and if the sound is good. And tonight we're going to have a quick chat with Caio Acosta and Sofia Andrade, the lucky winners of the free 15 of free consulting. So just checking if the sound is all right. The lucky winner. Yeah, I think it's working fine in Instagram. Just going to double check in YouTube. I just need to do something here in YouTube. Just a second, guys. Just need to
Instagram.
put.
Just going to double check.
I just need to do the setup here. Just do a little bit wider.
YouTube.
So we can go to YouTube, okay. So now I think it's going okay in YouTube as well.
Yeah. Just need to do the setup here.
And also sorry for yesterday. I was going to do the live session with Caio yesterday morning, but I wasn't feeling very well since Friday, and my wife didn't want to wake me up on Saturday morning. So yeah, sorry guys. But Caio was kind enough to reschedule for tonight, and also then Sofia following up after Caio's quick chat. Sofia will be joining us as well.
And my wife didn't want to wake me on Saturday morning.
I think YouTube is working fine as well.
But Caio was kind
of all right, so I think we're going good, and we will start. Hi everyone, and thanks for joining this live session. It is live number 188 of my series Engineering Qualification Validation here in Australia. And tonight I'm going to be delivering two free sessions, one with Caio Acosta, a structural engineer
we will start.
From Brazil.
Hi everyone,
living
thanks
in
for joining
Gold Coast,
this live session. It is live.
Well, he'll be able to introduce himself. And also, I'm going to be delivering the second free consulting services with Sofia Andrade. She's an environmental engineer, and she's currently living in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. Yeah, thanks Sofia for waking up early for the consulting.
Well, he'll be able to.
Okay, so we will start with Caio and then with Sofia. And if we still have time, we're going to do a little bit more question and answer sessions, especially a lot of questions that I received from during the free workshop. And also, I would like to remind you guys that my online mentoring program, the enrollments, they finish tonight, 11:59 p.m. tonight. So if you're still thinking, still considering, you still have until 11:59 p.m. tonight to get a $600 discount, and also take the 9 extra bonuses for free.
My online mentoring program, the enrollments,
I'll see if I can invite Caio.
11:59 p.m. tonight. So if you're still thinking, still considering,
that's going to
still
work.
have until 11:59
send him an invitation
to get the $600 discount, and also take the 9 extra bonuses for free. Okay, so I'll see if
I think you need to request to participate.
Add him. Let's see if it's going to work. So send him an invitation.
Yeah, because I don't think I can invite you.
So let's I don't think.
Yes, I see your
it's not
request.
Caio, I think you need to.
I think you will be live pretty soon
to participate. Can you please? Yeah, because I don't think I can invite you.
Hello, Caio. How are you? Yes, I can. Yes, oh, yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah. So you're coming back from work? All right. No, that's okay. Yeah. So it looks like a big day.
Hello. Can you see me?
Well,
hello,
I think we all have to do this when we come to Australia. Yeah, you're doing. I definitely did a lot as well.
Yeah, I'm coming home from work.
So thank you very much, Caio, for participating in the workshop. And well done in being one of the winners of the free consulting. And again, apologies for yesterday morning. I wasn't really feeling very well.
I think we all.
All right, so if you want to introduce yourself a little bit of your background, what you're doing here in Australia, what's your plan for the future.
So thank you very much, Caio, for
can
participating in the workshop. And well done in being one of the winners of the free consulting. And again, apologies for yesterday morning. I wasn't really feeling very well yet. All right, so if you want to introduce yourself a little bit of your background, what you're doing here in Australia, what's your plan for the future, and then we can start our chat.
Okay.
All right.
So I came to Australia for 2 months ago. So I'm kind of new here. And I'm a structural engineer from Brazil. I worked 7 years in the structural office, and I also worked as a university teacher in structural discipline, structural subject.
All right. No, that's very good, Caio. I think it's a good plan. And a lot of people, they do that. They come first, they have a look and they try to see what are the options and the opportunities, and then they bring the family a little bit later on. But it is hard because, you know, your wife and your kids back in Brazil, it's always hard.
No, that's very good, Caio. I think it's a good plan.
The questions that you
have?
A
lot of people, they do that. They come first, they have a look, and they try to see what are the options and the opportunities, and then they bring the family a little bit later on. But it is hard because, you know, your wife and your kids back in Brazil, it's always hard.
Yeah.
But what are the questions that you have? How can I help you?
Okay, so my wife just joined the conversation.
All right.
But so
first, the examples that you gave, they're the same. The recognition of your qualification, your overseas qualification, is your skills assessment with Engineers Australia.
Diploma.
So when you go to Engineers Australia in the migration skills assessment,
which one I need to work
that is the recognition of your overseas qualification.
The examples that you gave,
they're
the same. So the recognition of your qualification, your overseas qualification, is your skills assessment with Engineers Australia.
Yeah.
So
Gold Coast
when you go to Engineers Australia in the migration skills assessment,
you get your skills assessment
recognition
positive
of your
result with Engineers Australia.
Qualification in Australia.
You find a job as a structural engineer, for example.
But because you are
here in Australia, if you're going to perform as a structural engineer doing design, calculation, those sort of things,
and
this is considered to be
you get validated,
professional engineering services,
skills assessment,
PES,
positive result with Engineers Australia.
In Queensland, for you to provide
you find a job
professional engineering services,
for example.
You need to be registered
here in Australia
with the Board of Professional Engineers of Queensland,
a structural engineer doing design, calculation, those sort of things.
I'll put here is
this is considered to be professional engineering services, PES. And in Queensland, for you to provide
professional engineering
services, you need to be registered
is like the
with the Board of Professional Engineers of Queensland.
that's the agency or the institution or the organization
I'll put here
that has the, how can I say, the power of the regulator of the profession. Engineers Australia, a lot of people think that Engineers Australia is like our CREA in Brazil, but it is not. Engineers Australia does not have the power
the agency
of the
or the
regulator.
institution or the organization,
for example,
that
in
has
Brazil, if
how can I
the
say, the
CREA
power
can
of
take people
the regulator
to the court
of the
if
profession.
they work as an engineer
Engineers
without being
Australia, a lot
registered
of
in
people
CREA,
think that
which
Engineers
is the
Australia is like
exercício legal
our
da
CREA
profissão.
in Brazil,
Engineers Australia
but it is
doesn't
not.
do that.
Engineers
Who does
Australia
that
does
here
not
in
have the
Queensland
power
is the Board
of
of
the
Professional
regulator.
Engineers of
They,
Queensland.
for
They
example,
can take
in Brazil,
people to the court, to the legal
CREA
system,
can
prosecuting them
people
as
to
a
the
criminal
court
offense
if they work as
they
an
are
engineer
not registered
without being
as a
registered in
professional
CREA,
engineer.
which is the
And the
exercício legal da
registration is
profissão.
called usually
Engineers Australia
stage
doesn't
2.
do that.
The validation
Who
of
does
your
that
overseas
here in
qualification
Queensland is
is
the
your
Board of
stage
Professional
1.
Engineers of Queensland. They can take people to the court, to the legal system, prosecuting them as a criminal offense if they are not registered as a professional engineer.
Yes.
And the registration is called usually stage 2. The validation of your overseas qualification is your stage 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
So another doubt, about the skill assessment, I need to write.
So those 7 years that you were working in Brazil,
yes,
you probably worked
I have a
as
problem with that because in Brazil,
self-employed,
I have
autonomo.
no proof that I worked 7 years. So any proof like insurance or anything. So I cannot do that.
So those 7 years that you were working in Brazil,
processes that sometimes people they get a little bit confused.
Self-employed, autonomo.
Engineers Australia, they do 2 validation processes. One is the validation of your qualification, so your diploma, assessing that your qualification, overseas qualification, is equivalent to an Australian qualification. So that's the skills assessment.
Processes that sometimes people they get a little bit confused.
Validate your work experience.
Engineers Australia, they do 2 validation processes.
That will help you
is the
with,
validation
for example, migration points.
So your diploma,
depending on the type of migration process that you
your
do,
qualification,
you will
overseas
need points.
qualification, is
And
equivalent
if you
to an Australian qualification.
numbers of years of
the skills
experience,
assessment.
And you may get some 5, 10 points, whatever. You need to talk to your migration agent. For you to validate your work experience,
for example, migration
it's
points.
When you will need,
depending on the type of migration process that you do,
Social Security, INSS, FGTS,
you validate
bank statements, those sort of things, and RPA.
You may get some 5, 10 points, whatever. You need to talk to your migration agent.
You will need those ones.
For you to validate your
Engineers
work
Australia
experience,
that you had
it's when you will need
between the
tax
company.
return, Social Security,
that is to validate
INSS,
your work
FGTS,
experience.
bank statements, those sort of things, and RPA.
You just need a reference letter.
RPA.
So if you work for a company,
you will need those
you just
ones.
Need to ask, even if you work as an autonomous or
that you had
self-employed,
a connection between
if you were providing services to a company, you just need to ask the company
that is to validate
if
your
they could
work
give you
experience.
a letter saying that you provided that service, you started this date, you finished that date.
So if
you were
employed for a company,
as a self-employed,
you just need to ask, even if you work as an autonomous,
and you were working this many hours per week, or the project took this many hours, whatever, and you've been paid this much.
They could give you a letter
and
saying that
the
you
letter
provided
then describes
that service,
at least
you
the
started
5
this
main
date, you finished that date,
that you did.
You were employed as a
structural engineer
self-employed
in that project.
Structural
engineer. And then the letter needs to be
and you were working this many hours per week, or the project took this many hours, whatever.
Signed by the supervisor with the contract details.
And
so this is
the
to
letter
prove
describes at least the 5 main
Australia, they want to make sure that you did what you put in your career
engineer in that
they can see that the letter is kind of matching with what you wrote in your career episodes.
And also obviously signed by the supervisor with the contact details. So this is to prove that
for the skills assessment,
they want to make sure that you did what you put in your career episodes. They can see that the letter is kind of a matching with what you wrote in your career episodes.
But
yes, you can.
Proof like the social security or RPA
or
something like that, or just the letter?
For the skills assessment, you don't need. You just need the letter. You just need the letter.
And for the
yes, you can. Yeah,
I can also
use your internship. You can use your final assignment, your TCC. Your master's thesis. Even, for example, subjects that you studied in your university degree. You can use, for example, let's say, theory of structures, and then there was a project that you did for that subject. It doesn't really need to be the final assessment, it doesn't need to be the TCC. As long as it is from a subject that you studied, you can also use that one
in your university degree. You can use, for example, let's say,
that's
theory of
complicated
there was
because you need to remember
for that subject. It doesn't really need to be the final assessment. It doesn't need to be the TCC. As long as it is
your profession is
from a subject that you studied.
Even though you're an engineer,
you can also use that one there.
But the profession is teaching.
Experience as a teacher, university.
Unless as a teacher.
That's
if you did your master's
complicated
to be able to be a teacher,
need to remember
then you could use your master's, the work that you
as a teacher.
But the work as a teacher,
you are
teaching, for example,
your profession is a
concrete, for example.
Even though you're an engineer,
it's not quite the job of an engineer.
Teaching. So
because you are teaching.
If you did your master's to be able to be a teacher, then you could use your master's, the work that you did.
So you are not really applying that prescribed process. You are teaching that prescribed process to the students.
For example.
So
it's not quite the job of an engineer.
It's going to be complicated,
One, because you are teaching what is a prescribed process.
They only need to be very relevant.
So you are not really
the definition of the ANZ SEO
you are teaching that prescribed process to the students.
Standard classification of occupation.
It's going to be complicated.
Okay, so better use the internship, master degree, and university.
So did you graduate as a civil engineer or a structural engineer?
They only need to be very relevant to the definition of the ANZ SEO occupation.
What you can
Australia, New Zealand,
you can apply for civil engineering
of occupations
as a civil engineer and use your structural examples for that.
Engineering.
So did you graduate as a civil engineer or a structural engineer?
Here in Australia, the civil engineers and the structural engineers, they
what
very, how can I say,
you can apply for civil engineering.
So, for example,
as a civil engineer,
the company that
use your structural
Department of Transport roads,
examples for that.
A lot of the bridge engineers, they are all recognized
here in Australia,
registered
the civil engineers and the structural engineers,
so
they very, how can I say, linked.
Because what happens is that when you validate as a civil engineer, for example,
in the Department of Transport and Roads,
and then when you're going to get your registration as a registered professional engineer of Queensland, your RPQ,
as civil engineers.
You are going to use your structural competencies to demonstrate your competency, and you will get registered, for example, as civil.
With a focus on structural.
The important thing is that
when you're going to get your registration
in the area that you are competent.
As a registered professional engineer of Queensland, your RPQ.
But I'm not a structural engineer for bridges, for example.
competencies to demonstrate your competency, and you will get registered, for example,
even though I am recognized as civil engineer,
the important
I am registered as a civil engineer,
you need to perform in the area that you are competent. For example, I am civil engineer,
residential buildings and those sort of things.
I'm not a structural engineer for bridges, for example.
I'm competent in that. But I
design
cannot do
other types of
structural calculations
but
for
not
bridges. Because
so even though I am recognized as a civil engineer, I am registered as a civil engineer,
engineering for
I can
bridges.
do
So as a civil
structural
engineer,
calculations
I can
for
work as a structural engineer.
Residential
If you
buildings
want to,
and those sort of things.
you can
because
be registered
I've done that, I'm competent.
as a structural engineer.
But I cannot do
you actually
structural
can
calculations
have
for bridges
because
I haven't
specializations here, two fields
done my competencies in structural
Queensland.
engineering for bridges.
So you can be registered as a civil engineer,
I can
and then later on you can
as a structural
be registered as a structural engineer.
You can be registered as a structural engineer. You actually can have two specializations, two fields.
Well, thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
So you can be registered as a civil engineer,
because tomorrow,
and then
Monday,
later on you can
start all over
be
again.
registered as a structural engineer.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Okay then. Thank you very much, Caio, for your participation. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries, Caio. Well, thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Have a good rest.
And
because
very
tomorrow,
interesting
Monday,
questions.
We start
probably some
again.
of the questions that you guys also have.
In the morning,
and now I'm going to ask Sofia.
All right. Okay then. Thank you very much,
So
Caio, for your
I think,
participation.
Sofia, you need to request.
Yeah. So that was Caio, and
then I can
very interesting questions. Probably some of the questions that you guys also have. And now I'm going to ask Sofia to join us. So I think, Sofia, you need to request, and then I can.
Hello, Sofia. Good morning for you. Yeah. Yes, that's good. Yeah, all right. Well, thank you very much, Sofia, for participating in the workshop and also being engaged in the Instagram post. And I would like to introduce you. Well, if you can introduce yourself.
Hello, Sofia.
I mentioned that you are an environmental engineer.
Yeah,
and where do you live? What do you do? What's your plan for the future?
That's good. Yeah, all right. Well, thank you very much, Sofia, for participating in the workshop and also being engaged in the Instagram post. And I would like to introduce you. Well, if you can introduce yourself. I mentioned that you are an environmental engineer, and where do you live? What do you do? What's your plan for future?
Okay, so right now I'm an environmental engineer, but I work with sustainability. Worked with sustainability for the last 5 years, so it's what I chose to specialize. And right now I'm living in Rio because I chose to start my migration process here. So I've done the English proficiency test, and now I need to.
And when did you graduate?
The assessment, and I want to validate my diploma as an environmental engineer because it's one of the professions that have this pathway to migrate. So I think that's it for the introduction.
Good. Yeah. And when did you graduate?
I graduated in 2017.
All right. Good.
And okay, so I have a few questions. So my first is about one of the options to validate my career episode, because I read the booklet and I thought that I can use my position as a career episode, and that was something that I wanted to understand if it's a good choice. I work in sustainability, but one of my main is environmental management more specifically related to carbon emissions. So I'm responsible for the climate strategy, the environmental strategy for the company, which is one of the biggest retail companies in Brazil, Americanas, and probably you've heard about it.
Yeah.
And I'm responsible for that for the last 5 years. I've been doing that, so
yeah,
I want to prove that
I'm just
migration
probably going to have a quick look here, because there's so many types of engineering environment.
Further than that, I don't have anything really related to environmental engineering. But the other things I do are more related to sustainability strategy and reports and
so just for us to see what's the definition of environmental engineering.
I'll just probably going to have a quick look here, because there's so many types of engineering.
Assesses the impact on air, water, soil, and noise levels in the vicinity of engineering projects. Plans and designs equipment and processes for the treatment and safe disposal of waste material.
What's
and assesses what may cause problems for the environment in the long term.
It says here, assesses the impact on air, water, soil, and noise levels in the vicinity of engineering projects, plans and designs equipment and processes for the treatment and safe disposal of waste material, and assesses what may cause problems for the environment in the long term.
Yeah, I thought because I have a factor, for example, greenhouse gas emissions and water.
Yeah, it's
and
always very subjective, but I think nowadays it's part of the environmental engineer to do that. And I'm pretty sure that as part of your job and your position, you need to, if the target is to have zero carbon emission, those sort of things, you need to design things and calculate things, how you're going to offset emissions and put some strategies in place and
it's part of the environmental engineer to do that. And I'm pretty sure that as part of your job and your position,
carbon, whatever,
you need to, if the target is to have zero carbon emission, those sort of things, you need to
because that also
design things and calculate things,
assesses what may cause problems for the environment in the long term.
Strategies in place.
So obviously carbon emission, it's something that can cause problems for the environment in the long term.
Kidnapping
so
carbon,
whatever. It is supported by that part as well.
It could be perhaps
so in terms of the position,
because
when
that also
the booklet talks about the position that you are occupying or occupying, it's because sometimes
obviously carbon emission,
some of the tasks they're very small
for the environment
and then in a position
so I think
sometimes
it is supported
you do
by
a lot of small things
that part
and
as
then
well.
you can combine
so
instead of talking about one particular small example you can say that my career episode is going to be about
it's because
my position as an environmental engineer in the Americanas group,
they're very small
where
and then in a position sometimes then you do a lot of small things,
carbon emission,
and then you can combine instead of talking about one particular small example. You can say that my career episode is going to be about
talk about
my position
things and then
as an environmental engineer in the Americanas
small activities
where
to come up with a whole career episode, because then you can say that
carbon emission,
you interact with these people, interact with another people, you use these activities, these technical specifications for one and these other technical specifications for other one, and those
talk about those things and then combine the many small activities to come up with a whole career episode, because then you can say that you interact with these people, interact with another people, you use these activities, these technical specifications for one and these other technical specifications for other one and those sort of things.
Okay, and then if I choose to use this, use my position,
you could,
I shouldn't use,
if you have a specific project
because
that you think it's complex enough
program,
just to be by its own, You can use that particular project as a second career episode.
And other small things like you just said. I shouldn't use another career episode about something really.
You could, if you have a specific project that you think it's complex enough just to be by its own, you can use that particular project as a second career episode.
And it's not a problem if they are ongoing, because, for example, the 901 is ongoing, and I have another one which is related to
you need to remember that when you're using a project that's still ongoing,
environmental damage, because it's
in the beginning of your career episode, you're going to describe what is the project, or what is the objective of the project. And when you develop your career episode, at the end, you need to answer if you achieved
you need to remember that when you're using a project,
if the project hasn't finished yet, maybe you don't know if you achieved the objectives yet.
You're going to describe
what is the project,
or what is the objective of the project.
Ongoing.
And when you develop your career episode,
during the project, you had a specific environmental problem.
If you achieved the objective.
You were the one to resolve that problem. That
maybe
particular environmental problem in the project, and that's finished.
In a project that is
you're not talking about the whole project. You're talking about, let's say that a problem, an environmental problem, or sustainability problem, whatever, within that project. And then you describe that problem, which has the beginning and then has the end as well, because you solve that problem
in the project.
So if you have something like that, you could use
you're not talking about the whole project. You're talking about
to describe your career
environmental
episode.
Problem or sustainability problem, whatever, within that project. And then you describe that problem, which has the beginning and then has the end as well, because you solve that problem. So if you have something like that, you could use that particular problem to describe in your career episode.
Yeah, that's a good option. I'm gonna think about, because I know there are some options, but sometimes it feels like I can't think about.
It's breaking up. The sound is breaking up a little bit now, so I couldn't really hear. Now it's frozen.
While
are you back? Yeah.
Course, you can.
It's breaking up. The sound is breaking up a little bit now, so I couldn't really hear. Now it's frozen.
Yeah. Do you hear me well now?
Are you back? Yeah.
Okay. So no, I said that I had the opportunity to study for 2 semesters at a university in Australia, UQ in Brisbane. And I did some courses there. And one of them is also related to climate change and environmental management. And I had to do a paper at the end. But it's not too technical. It's more related to that other part of the definition. The assessment is what may causes problems in the long term. But it was related to something in Australia. It was about
without knowing a lot of the details is difficult to say.
Water supply in Southeast Queensland. It was a paper, but it was not
it's
technical.
Difficult to say without having a look and reading some of the content. You just need to remember that when you have a look at the 16 competencies.
Without knowing a lot of the details is
try to read the competencies. And obviously, you have your paper in your mind.
Yeah, and it's difficult to say without
have your mental
having a look and reading some of the content.
You just need to 16 competencies with this paper here.
That when you have a
when
look
it talks about
the 16 competencies,
innovation and creativity, for example,
try to read the
P3.3.
competencies and obviously
did I do something innovative, or did I introduce something creative
have your mental
during
thinking.
that paper?
Can I
yeah, maybe yes. Oh no, probably
address
not.
all the 16 competencies
When you
with
talk
this
about the
paper
design
here?
processes,
When you talk
have
about
I done some design in that one there that I can
innovation and
prove that I
creativity,
use
for example, P3.3.
technical standards or
Did I do something
technical
innovative,
publications
or
to
did I
do some
introduce
design
something
work?
creative
If you
during
can
that
answer
paper?
yes, yeah, so that should
maybe
be all
yes.
right.
Oh,
But
no,
if
probably
you
not.
struggle,
When it
if
talks
you
about the design
find
processes,
difficulty
have I done
to
some
actually
design
find
that I can
evidences
prove
of
that
the
I use
competencies, it may not be
technical
a good one.
standards or technical publications to do some design work? If you can answer yes, and yeah, so that should be all right. But if you struggle, if you find difficulty to actually find evidences of the competencies, it may not be a good one.
Yeah, no, I have to check all the boxes. That's a good point. And my last question is about the reference letter.
Well, about the reference letter, what I usually advise people,
for example, one
is that
focus on my job description.
First of all,
in the other one,
it's
like
a good idea for you to
from
draft
my boss, like
the reference letter and then
things
send
about
the
my
draft
work,
to
or
the
is it
company.
one
And when you're
document,
drafting
like just the
the
job
reference letter,
description
apart
and
from the
the start
first
date and
initial
the
first or second paragraph, where you talk
about the reference letter,
the name of the company, where you
what I
work,
usually
the position that you
advise
work,
people
start date,
is
finish
that,
date, full-time, part-time,
first of all,
how much was your monthly
it's a good
salary,
idea for you
etc.
to draft
But
the
then when
reference
it comes
letter
to the
and then
at least the
send the
5 main
draft to the
activities,
company. And when you're drafting the
it's
reference
always a
letter,
good
apart from the
idea
first
to link
initial first
the
and
5
second
main
paragraph,
activities
where you talk
with
about
the career episodes
the
that you're
name
going
of the
to write,
company, where
especially
you
if you're going to
worked,
write
the position that
about
you
a
worked,
particular
start date,
project.
finish date,
You
full-time,
could put in one
part-time,
of the activities,
how
and
much
it
was your
doesn't need to
monthly
be just
salary,
5. You can
etc.
put 5, 6, 7, 8.
But then when it comes to
And
at least the
including one of the
5
dot
main
points that you
activities,
deliver that particular project and you name that
it's
project
always a good idea
and
to
what you did in
link
that
the
project
5
there.
main activities
So it matches with what
the career episodes that you're going to
your
write,
career episode
especially
is
if you're
going
going
to
to
be.
write about a particular project.
So that is more
You could
important.
put
And then
in
in
one
the
of
last
the
paragraph,
activities, and it doesn't need to be just 5. You can put
you
5,
can
6,
write
7,
something
8,
about
and
if you
including one
were
of the
working
dot
a
points
team,
that
because
you delivered
sometimes you
that
work
particular
in a
project
team,
and you name that
sometimes you
project
were leading a
and
team.
what you did
So
in
it's
that
important
project
for you
there.
to include
So
something
it
about
matches with
teamwork
what
there as well in the last
your
paragraph,
career episode is going to
and
be.
that your contribution
So that is the more important. And then in the last paragraph,
was good because of your engineering skills and
you
those sort
can
of
write
things.
something about
So,
if you were working a team, because sometimes you worked in a team, sometimes you were leading a team. So it's important for you to
it's kind
include
of
something
project, so
about teamwork there as well
is
in the
in the
last
reference
paragraph.
letter, the same project that you're going to
that your
use in your
contribution
career episode. Because then it's a direct
was
link.
good because of your engineering skills and those sort of things. So, yeah.
So I can describe the project at least a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. At least kind of name the project so it is in the reference letter, the same project that you're going to use in
can be other tasks as well. Yeah, because you will see in the competencies that there is competencies that are not really very technical. So there are competencies about report writing, information management, ethical standards and those sort of things. So as long as those activities they somehow match the competencies that you need to demonstrate in Engineers Australia, it's always useful to have in the
competencies that are not really very technical
in the reference letter. And obviously, if the activities that you did they match, for example, the definition that we are reading here on the internet,
and those sort of things,
it's always important that
as long as those activities
they
somehow match
with what
the competencies
what
that
is
you
written
need
in the
to demonstrate in Engineers
definition.
Australia. It's always useful to have in the reference letter. And obviously, if the activities that you did they match, for example, the definition that we are reading here on the internet, it's always important that you know the activities
you
kind of
broke
a
up a
link
bit. I
with
couldn't.
what
So you're
what is
asking about
written in the
if you can use the
occupation
same
definition.
document in what? Sorry.
And I can use just one document for. I mean, because as an analyst and just one paper for all.
Yeah.
With the company.
You broke up a bit. I couldn't. So you're asking about
yes, you can,
if you can use the same document in what?
In the beginning, you can say that you started to work as in this position from this day until that date, and then you got promoted and worked from this date until that date in the other position, and then from this date to another date in the other position. And then in the activities, you probably then, instead of having 5, you will have more activities, because there will be activities from
in the beginning, you can say that you started to work
from the other position that you worked,
in this position from this day until that date, and then
so your
you got
letter can be
promoted and
a little
worked
bit more
from this date until
longer.
that date in the other position, and then from this date to another date in the other position. And then in the activities, you probably then, instead of having 5, you will have more activities, because there will be activities from one position that you work, and then activities from the other position that you work, and
thanks for waking up early.
position that you work. So your letter can be a little bit more
and you can enjoy probably a good sunny day. Is it sunny in Rio now?
No, great. Those are questions. Thank you so much for your time. And
that's okay.
So it's going to be close to 40 degrees very soon.
And thank you very much for participating. And thanks for your time, and thanks for waking up early.
Thank you very much, Sofia. And we'll keep talking.
Enjoy probably a good sunny day. Is it sunny in Rio now?
It is in Rio.
And that was Sofia Andrade, an environmental engineer from Brazil, still living in Rio de Janeiro. And very good questions, and I hope that you guys enjoyed, and the answers also helped you. So if you guys have any particular question, you can write in the comments.
And that was Sofia Andrade, an environmental engineer from Brazil, still living in Rio de Janeiro.
Also my list of questions here. And you can think about your questions while I answer some more questions.
And the answers also helped you.
Okay.
So if you guys have any particular question, you can write in the comments. We'll have a look in the comments.
There's a question here,
and also I've got also my list of questions here.
About
and you can think about your questions while I answer some more questions.
Can you give some tips to write a good career episode?
Have a look.
Well, I gave already some tips in the conversation with Caio and Sofia. But I'll give a few other ones. So, or reinforcing the ones that I really think is very important. So the first one probably is to make sure that you choose very carefully
to write a good
the experiences that you're going to use in your career episode.
Well, I gave already
because if you choose the wrong experience,
with Caio,
it's going to be very risky.
A few other ones.
Remember that during the workshop, I said that if you choose the wrong experience,
so the first one probably is to make sure that you choose very carefully the experiences that you're going to use in your career episode. Because if you choose the wrong experience,
not
it's going
to
be
by Genius
very risky.
Because you used
Remember that during the workshop, I said that
so choosing the right experience is really important.
You can still
address that
addressing the competencies.
To have a good read at the occupation definition in the ANZ SEO occupation definition,
have your career episode
and make sure that your experience matches
because you use the occupation experience. So choosing the right experience is really career episode, and
is also about the complexity of your experience.
You will need
try to choose an experience that is going to be a little bit more complex, so you can address all 16 competencies.
And make sure that your experience
if you use an experience that's not very complex,
occupation definition.
Sometimes,
Another
because it's not very complex,
write a good career episode
you will find the
is also about
difficulties
the complexity
to address
of your
all
experience.
16 competencies.
Try to choose an experience that is
Another
going to
tip
be a little
is
bit
to
more
make sure
complex,
that you
so you
provide
can
enough
address all
supporting
16
evidences.
competencies.
A lot of engineers,
If you
they
use an
forget
experience
about
that's
it.
not very
You need to
complex,
provide enough support
sometimes
evidences
because it's not very
to support
complex,
your
you
engineering
will
skills.
find the
For example,
difficulties to address
you
all
are the
16
career episode is a
competencies.
technical report. It's not just
Another
a
tip
normal narrative.
is to make
It's
sure
a
that
technical
you
narrative.
provide
And
enough
because you are
supporting
demonstrating
evidences.
your
A lot of
technical
engineers,
skills,
they forget about
your
it.
engineering skills.
You need to provide
So
enough
make sure that you
support
include
evidences
some
to
calculations,
support your
not a lot of
engineering
calculations,
skills.
but some
For example,
calculations, the formulas that you use.
the career
If you
episode is
use
a technical report.
standard,
It's not just a
it's
normal
important
narrative.
to
It's a technical narrative.
name what
And
technical standard
because
you
you are
use.
demonstrating your
If you use
technical
tables,
skills,
diagrams,
your engineering skills.
graphs,
So
pictures,
make sure that
photos
you
of the work that you
include
did,
some calculations,
AutoCAD
not a lot of
drawings.
calculations, but some
You can
calculations,
put
the
a
formulas that
screenshot
you
of your
used.
AutoCAD
If
drawings.
you used
It's
a technical
important to
standard,
include those ones in
it's
the career
important
episode
to
as supporting
name
evidences
what
of
technical
your
standard did you
engineering
use.
skills.
If you use tables,
And there's many
diagrams,
more, but I could be here the whole
graphs,
night talking about
pictures,
many
photos
tips.
of the work that you
Obviously,
did,
my students, they get a
AutoCAD
lot of
drawings.
13
You can kind
pages
of
of
put
tips
a
that I give
screenshot of your
to
AutoCAD
my
drawings.
students.
It's important to include those ones in the career
CDR
episode
process.
as supporting evidences
Within the
of
process,
your
which document
skills.
is the hardest to
And
get?
there's many more, but I could be
Yeah,
here
that
the
can
whole
be
night talking
obviously
about many
subjective,
tips.
but
Obviously, my students, they get a lot
sometimes
of
even English tests could be very
13
difficult
pages of
to
tips
some
that I
people.
give to my
I know engineers that
students.
they still couldn't apply for the validation
CDR
because they didn't get their English test results.
Within the process,
But
which
in terms of the
document is the
documentation
hardest to get?
of the reports, I
that
think,
can
in my
be
opinion,
obviously
the
subjective,
summary statement is probably the most difficult
sometimes even
document
English
to
tests could
write
be very
a
difficult
very good
to
summary
some people.
statement. And why
I
is
know
that?
engineers that
It's
they
because
still
you have
couldn't
16
apply for the
competencies and you need
validation
to
because they didn't get
understand
the
very
English
well
test
those
results.
competencies and
But
have in your
in terms of
mind
the
which
documentation
examples in your
of the
career
report,
that
I
are going
think,
to
in my
match
opinion, the
with
summary
those
statement
competencies.
is probably the
Because
most
if you don't
difficult
know
document to
what
write
example
a very
will
good
match
summary statement.
with
And
the
why is that?
competency,
It's because
it's going to be
you have
difficult for
16
you to write
competencies and you need
that
to
in your career episode,
understand
and it's
very
going to
well
be
those
difficult
competencies
to
and
identify
have in your
the
mind
paragraph number
which
for that.
examples in your career
So,
that
and
are
the
going to
difficulty
match
comes mainly
with
about
those
understanding
competencies.
the competencies,
Because if you don't know
what
what example will
could
match
address
with
those
the
competencies. So
competency,
that's why I think
it's going to be
the summary
difficult for you to
statement,
write
in
that
my
in your
opinion,
career
is the
episode,
most
and it's
difficult
going to be
document to
difficult
write in the
to
CDR
identify
process.
the paragraph number for that. So
Another
and the
question.
difficulty comes mainly
here.
about understanding the competencies and
There's a question about
what could
plagiarism
address those competencies. So that's why
that
I
people
think
ask.
the summary
People ask the
statement,
question: how come
in
Engineers
my
Australia
opinion,
will
is the
know
most difficult document
that
to write in
it's
the CDR
plagiarism
process?
if I get a plagiarism-free report? A lot of
Another question.
some of the companies they are professional CDR writers.
There's a question about
and I'm not here to criticize
plagiarism.
anyone. Well, people do whatever they do. But those CDR writers,
people
they
ask the
are
question, how come
committing
Engineers Australia will know
plagiarism.
that
So because
it's
they're selling a
plagiarism
service
if I
to
get
write
a
for you,
plagiarism-free
when
report?
Engineers Australia is very clear
some of the
that
companies,
it's unethical
they are
behavior
professional
if you
CDR
ask
writers,
somebody to ask the report
and I'm
for
not
you.
here to criticize anyone.
And that's plagiarism.
People do whatever they do.
Engineers Australia
But
will
those
catch you.
CDR writers,
Engineers
they
Australia
are
has very
committing
advanced
plagiarism.
detection
because
software.
they're selling a service to write for you.
Oh yeah,
When
Jason, but
Engineers
I heard
Australia
many people
is very
that
clear
Engineers
that
Australia didn't catch. Well,
it's unethical behavior if you ask somebody to
There's
ask
a question
the report
here
for
from Hafez.
that's plagiarism.
How does Engineers Australia
will
distinguish
catch you.
between artificial
Engineers Australia has
intelligence
very
written or human written
plagiarism
script?
detection softwares.
Well,
and they will
I don't know
catch
if it
you.
is, but
Yeah,
it's
Gerson,
probably
but I heard many
from
people
their
that
own
Engineers Australia didn't catch.
plagiarism
Well,
detection
they were
software.
probably lucky.
So
There's a
how would they
question
know?
here from
Maybe
Hafez. How does Engineers Australia distinguish
I don't know
between
how they do it, if they
artificial
put everything in their
intelligence
software
written or
with
human
artificial
written
intelligence
script?
now
I don't
obviously
know,
more
Hafiz,
prevalent.
but it's probably from
They
their
certainly doing
own
something about it.
plagiarism detection software.
Engineers Australia, they are very clever.
How
They've
would
got
they
very
know?
good
Maybe
people there, and they know
I don't know how they do it
that
if they put
the
everything in their
validation
software
of
with
skills
artificial
is a very important
intelligence
process
now
because it goes to the
obviously
federal
more
government,
prevalent.
and
They
if the federal
certainly
government
doing something
starts
about it
kind
because
of saying, "Oh, geez,
Engineers
Australia, what are
they
you
are very
doing
clever.
to
They've
detect
got very good
plagiarism because people are using artificial
there,
intelligence?"
and
If Engineers Australia
they know
says, "Oh, well, we're not
that
doing anything,"
the
it can
validation
damage their
of
reputation.
skills
And
is
Engineers
a very
Australia is a
important
very
process because it
reputable
goes to the federal
organization,
government.
and I'm pretty sure that they are
If the
working
federal government
very
starts
hard to make
kind
sure
of
that
saying, Engineers Australia, what are you
engineers
doing
don't
to detect
supply
plagiarism
reports
because
that are
people are
done
using artificial
by
intelligence? If
ChatGPT
Engineers
or
Australia
artificial
says,
intelligence
oh,
and
well,
those
we're
sort
not
of
doing
things.
anything, it can damage their reputation. And Engineers Australia is a
All
very
right.
reputable organization.
And
And
also,
I'm
if you
pretty
think
sure
that
that
the
they are
information is
working
relevant and
very hard to
interesting,
make sure that
don't forget to hit
engineers
the
don't
like button if you can.
supply
And that
reports
keeps
that are
motivating
done
me to
by
keep doing these live
ChatGPT or
sessions
artificial
and
intelligence
my
and those sort of
workshops.
things.
And don't forget, the enrollment for my
All
online
right.
mentoring program, it closes tonight,
And also, if you
11:59
think that
p.m.
the information is
And
relevant and
you still
interesting,
can get $600
don't
discount.
forget to hit the
And you can
like
also
button if you
split
can.
in 3
And
payments.
that keeps
The only thing
motivating
that
me
when you
to
split
keep
in 3
doing
payments,
these live sessions
the first
and
payment,
my
the deposit,
workshops.
you pay
And
$50
don't
more
forget,
because of
the enrollment for my
the
online
splitting
mentoring
payment.
program, it closes
So
tonight,
you pay a deposit
11:59
today,
p.m.
and then the first
And you
installment in
still
30
can get
days,
$600
and
discount.
the second installment
And you can also split in
60
3
days.
payments.
So
The only thing that
it makes
when
it
you
a little
split in
bit
3
easier for you.
payments, the first
So if
payment,
you
the
want
deposit,
to have a look at
you
my
pay
online
$50
mentoring
more
program,
because of
you can, after the live session,
the
you can
splitting
go
payment.
to my
So
bio,
you
and the
pay
link
deposit
is in my
today,
bio. You
and
can
then
have a look in there,
first installment in
and
30
you have
days,
until
and the
11:59
second installment
tonight to make your
60
enrollment.
days.
And if you have any
So
questions, you
makes
can
a little
send
bit
me
easier for you. So
a
if you
direct
want
message
to have
as
a
well.
look at my
Okay,
online mentoring
so you've
program,
got pretty
you
much
can
3
after the live
hours
session
to
you
make
can
your
go
enrollment
to
and become
my bio, and the
number
link is in my
32.
bio.
Yeah,
You
just
can have a look
this
in there,
week I received
and you
very
have
good
until
news about you guys probably
11:59
saw in my stories
tonight
from
to make
Rodrigo
your
that he
enrollment.
was
And if you have any
validated
questions, you
as
can
an
send
engineer
me
here in Australia.
a direct
So he
message as
was
well.
student
Okay,
number
so you've got
31.
pretty much
So you
3
can be
hours
student
to
32.
make your enrollment and
And
become
remember
number
that
32.
31
Yeah, just this
applied,
week I
31
received very good news
approved.
about you guys probably
So
saw in
far,
my stories
100%
from
approval rates.
Rodrigo that
And
he
they all
was
did by
validated
themselves. I didn't write
as an
their
engineer
reports.
here in
I just
Australia.
teach them how to
So
write a very
he
good
was
report, and
student
all
number
engineers,
31.
my students,
So
they
you can be
write their
student
own
32.
reports, so no risks of
And
plagiarism. Okay?
remembering that 31
All right then. So I'd like to thank you guys very much for your
31
participation.
approved.
And
So far,
if you have any
100%
question,
approval rates.
please
And they all did
send
by
me the
themselves.
direct
I
message.
didn't write the
And don't
report.
forget
I just
to go
teach
to my
them how
YouTube
to
channel.
write a
Just
very
need
good
to
report,
search
and
Gerson
all
Ida. You'll
engineers,
find
my
my
students,
YouTube
they
channel with
write
more
their
than
own
300
reports,
videos
so
there.
no risks of
And
plagiarism.
subscribe
Okay.
if you like the
All
channel
right
there
then.
as well.
So I'd
Let's
like
see
to
if we
thank you
can
guys
get
very much
to
for your
1,000
participation.
subscribers. All right.
And
Okay
if you
then.
have
Thank you
any
very much,
question,
guys.
yeah,
And
please
I'll see you
send
then.
me the
Bye-bye.
direct message. And don't forget to go to my YouTube channel. Just need to search Gerson Ida. You'll find my YouTube channel with more than 300 videos there. And subscribe if you like the channel there as well. Let's see if we can get to 1,000 subscribers. All right. Okay then. Thank you very much, guys. And I'll see you then. Bye-bye.